Good afternoon, it is. This is Njiri Peterson. Today, I just want to speak about two things, and I want to speak in a perspective of a young person. I want to speak as a young person. I do not want to speak as someone who is older, as someone as someone who is too much born again, or all of that, what you call, or what you choose to call it. I just want to speak as a young person. And I want to say that knowing God is one of the things that have saved me. Prayers, too, is another thing that have saved me and made me who I am today. Were it not for prayers, or not for a good relationship with God, I will not be here. And I want to just let you know that all I do in my daily living, all I do, what I get is sponsored by God. I do not have anything. Let me make that one very clear, so that now I can start. Right now in Kenya, there is a lot of predicament. There is a lot of things happening. I don't know. I do not want to say that these things are necessarily caused by us not having a relationship with God. That's why this regime is killing us. But I want to say that at least, even if we try to change things, at least we first change our beliefs. At least we first know God. And knowing God does not have anything with going to church, anything with, because many people, they say they know God, but they don't. If you know God, you know the behavior God likes. If you know God, you know if you know your father, you understand him very well. You know what he doesn't like, what he likes. That is all I'm talking about. I'm talking about knowing and having, because knowing God is equal as having a relationship with him. Because if you know me very well, you know what I like. It is automatic that you know me, and as long as you follow what I like, as long as you do what I like being done, there will be a relationship between you and me, because of some other of that thing, because of that that knowledge of who I am will produce something we call a relationship. And a relationship with God is something that youth in this nation are missing. We're missing out a lot when it comes to having a good relationship with God. We could demonstrate. We could say that the government is not working, and we could, do all those things. And we can go to the street as we want. We can demonstrate. But I want you to understand that some of these things you see, you have two ways to view them. Number one, you have a physical view. That is how things are. That is how many of us see. And we have now the spiritual view. Now this one is very rare. And these killings and these sufferings, they could be a consequence of something that we did. But now, just like Sodom and Gomorrah suffered fire, we now suffers something else, something different. It is a consequence. It doesn't have to be fire, it doesn't have to be water, it doesn't have to be anything else. It has to be extreme suffering, having a regime that does not want to hear us, and us having also some other weaknesses that we have as young people. We do not want to work out very hard. We don't want to marry. We don't have to we want to get all these materialistic things overnight. And someone tells me that when you give a young man a wheelbarrow full of bananas and you tell him, push the wheelbarrow, go selling the bananas, someone says, that person was telling me that the young person will come empty-handed, having sold the bananas plus the wheelbarrow. So meaning us as young people, we do not want to commit to anything. We do not want to give out anything. We do not want to have any input for our lives. And I tell you for a fact, you don't have a relationship with God. You're not hardworking. You just want things to fall. And when things do not go the way you want, now you want to riot. And how, as a consequence also of something that we have, God punishes us by giving us politicians and not leaders. So he gives us a president who do not care about us. Now we have a president that don't care about us. We have a government, a whole entire government led by someone who doesn't care about the future of his younger generation. He doesn't want to know. All he wants to see is that he have invested properties in Dubai, properties in all over. So now, you see, view it in a spiritual way. See things in a spiritual way. Don't force yourself to believe that the government is bad, but also this could be a consequence of something that we did, not as young people, because also the older people are suffering. Having this government is a nightmare. Is a nightmare. Having this government is something that people didn't pray about having such kind of a government. But as a nation, we said yes to LGBTQ in exchange of money. So we exchanged the sanity of our nation. We also exchanged the sanity, the purity that comes, the purity. I mean, how do I paraphrase this? I want to say that we, as men, started sleeping with other men, and the consequence for homosexuality could be very severe than we think. Now we see people, young people who want to have sex with the same gender, not the opposite gender, as nature is suggesting. So we are deviating from the truth. We are also deviating from not wanting to hear things, not wanting to understand things, not wanting to go a wrong way like our forefathers did. We don't want to start with one cow, we want to start with 1,000 cows. Where are we going to get that? We do not want responsibility. We as young people, we have dodged responsibility. We have moved away from it. So, to the generations that we are in, only 2 or 3% can keep a marriage. So we have really lost our culture and we continue to die like flies. Only because the nation cannot go back to its senses, like in the older days, and recognize that we need to pray. And when we have the national breakfast, God cannot be there, because the people who are there are the same people who claim to worship Him at the highest level, but they are pretenders, they are murderers, they are thieves, and they are people who do not know God. Leave alone having a relationship with God, do not know God. So we ought to pray. We ought to pray, and we ought to believe in God. We ought to work. We ought to go back to the original manual, which is the Bible. We have to read it. We have to understand how we are gonna do things. If this video goes to 5 people, at least those 5 people that will receive this video, please understand the message and share the message to your friends. I'm not saying you share the video so that I can have views. It's not about views. It's about information. And this is the only place that I can pass out my information very well. So have a good afternoon, and may God do you well. But remember, the only thing that we ought to do as a nation is to go back to our original roots, is to realize where we have wronged, and we correct that. Thank you.